People join in while the music plays the band. Welcome to the Music Plays the Band podcast. We're going to be sitting down with musicians, artists, band members, friends, and family to talk about what drives them to create great music. Asking more than just the typical questions, who's inspired you or what music do you like, we're going to ask the why behind what motivates them to create great music. People join in while the music plays the band.
Out on that train, I will go. Casey Jones, you better watch her speed. Trouble ahead, no trouble be. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. This old man can't sit on time. It's Central Station at 4:30. It's River Junction, 72. 4:10, you know it's happening again. Riding that train, I will go. Casey Jones, you better watch her speed. Trouble ahead, no trouble behind. And you know that notion just crossed my mind. Get me!
All right, this is Aaron here at Front Porch Fest 10 and talking with Mason Vaya and Hot Trail Mix after their set, and just going to get to know you guys a little bit and talk about where your music's coming from. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Well, this is Panky. Now, that's what we like to call him. This is Grayson Tuttle on the banjo. He's one of the people that makes this really happen. He's been around from the start,
Okay.
and he really drives it, I tell you what.
All right.
And why don't you introduce me, I reckon?
So Mason here. So met him up in Boone, I guess, is where we first ran into each other a couple years ago. Just had a jam and got together and found out he was from a little town called Danbury, North Carolina, just down the road from here, not too far. And had a lot of fun playing with Mason. You know, good vocals and all his instrumentation, everything. Played everything from bluegrass to funk.
Oh, yeah.
a little different.
Funky bluegrass?
A little bit of everything.
All right. And who do we have over here?
My name is Ben Somerville, and I met Mason at Mount Airy Fiddlers Convention. I don't know what it's actually called. And then he came and recorded an album at the studio. I'm an engineer at a recording studio up in Rockville, Maryland, Patuxent Music.
Okay.
He recorded an album there, and I recorded it, and then I played.
We got it right here.
There it is. Mason Vaya and Tom Minty.
Yeah,
and then Ben Somerville, I played bass on it.
On every single track, so he got a little slided from the title.
I should be on the cover, but I'm not.
But he's on every track, yeah.
And then I just came down here for this.
Okay. So you guys don't look that old. How long have you been playing together for?
Well, me and Pinky and Zeb, who might show up at any point
Yeah,
here
he's the
now.
mandolin player,
He's the
right?
mandolin player. We've been playing together for about 2 years now, somewhat, a little give or take. And anyway, we had a bass player, but he ended up joining a big old band who's playing the Opry called Town Mountain. They just recently got featured in Rolling Stone and all this other big stuff, so he's gone on to big acclaim.
Okay.
And he still plays with us some, but we're trying to get Ben to play with us as much as possible recently, and so that's what he's playing the gig tonight. And and so the band is relatively new, but we're really happy and we're having a good old time.
Well, you guys sound pretty tight for being
you.
together
Thank you.
such a short
Appreciate
time.
it, yeah.
That's cool. And where did you grow up?
Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Okay, so Wilkesboro,
Just off the
Danbury.
mountain from Boone.
Yeah, I mean those are good places to grow up and get into bluegrass music for
A
sure.
lot of music around.
I don't know what the scene's like up in Maryland. But
Not that big.
no? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So let's go back to your childhood. Like about how old were you when you first remember kind of noticing music, paying attention to it, and like, getting into it?
Why don't you start
Well,
off?
my dad and family have all played. So since I was born, I've been going to festivals and not necessarily playing music, but I've definitely been around it. And then I picked it up, I guess, about high school.
Okay.
Well, before then, but I guess I started pursuing banjo about high school age.
Did you get into, I mean, you went to Merle Fest, I'd assume, as a kid?
Absolutely, every year.
Then did you do some of the camping around there?
Oh, I walked to the festival. My house was close enough, so I stayed at the house, but definitely went down to the campgrounds a lot.
Yeah, that's where the music happens.
Had a lot of fun down there.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
How about you, Mason?
My dad is also a bluegrass musician and bluegrass songwriter,
Okay.
and so he got me into going to all the festivals and fiddlers conventions, and our dads apparently know of each other at least, or they might have picked over the years. Who knows?
Yeah.
Late night. Yeah, that's what we hear at least. But so I really didn't put. I started playing guitar and bass when I was about 11.
Okay.
And mandolin when I was about 12, but really didn't take to anything too much until when I was about 15. I really tried to start playing bluegrass, or 15, 16, that whole kind of area. I tried to start learning how to play bluegrass, and now it's
Zebby,
got me
join
here
us.
today. And we got our mandolin player Zeb here, and he's a product of the bluegrass way. His
Coming to you
dad
from Wilkes County.
His dad and
Right here.
Pinky's dad both playing a band together.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Which band is that?
What are they called now? The Backstreet, before the
Well,
Backstreet
that-
Boys, yeah.
Or sassafras?
Sassafras, yeah.
I've got a couple different configurations.
All right, and you play mandolin with Hot Trail Mix?
That's right.
Okay.
We've been playing for a couple years.
A couple years? All right.
Picked up at Planet's Fiddlers Conventions. Don't know if that's been reviewed.
Yeah.
mentioned
Well,
it, you mentioned it.
I was
Yeah.
asking these guys about kind of when did you first start getting into music, or, as a kid, kind of what got you started?
Oh, I remember going to festivals and gigs with Gray. Gray's a few years younger than me, so he was always this tubby little kid. And both our dads would be playing. We'd just be running around like, what's bluegrass? But then we started picking what I did when I was 14.
Okay.
My dad taught me a lot of stuff. He plays mandolin and guitar.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, well.
He already gave
Yeah,
us
so you guys
gave my story,
You
but
caught up
yeah.
a little bit.
Okay, right
That's
on.
all right.
Yeah.
So,
Bring you in the loop.
all musicians get asked about their influences. So tell me some of your guys' influence, but more like the why. If you like a particular artist, why do you like them? So we'll start over here.
MASH.
Start with you.
Yeah.
I like more old school stuff like Flat and Scruggs, Bill Monroe.
Okay. What
Kenny-
about
Kenny
it?
Baker.
What about it?
I like that old high lonesome sound.
Yeah.
I find it a little less cheesy than some of the contemporary things coming
Okay.
out now.
All right.
What you might call mash grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, subgenres of bluegrass.
So what are some bands today, like modern bands, that you think do that high lonesome sound pretty well?
Del McCurry Band,
Yeah.
Earls of Leicester.
Earls of Leicester.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Things like that.
How about you, Pinky?
Let's see. I guess a big influence probably Terry Balcom.
Okay.
He's a big influential banjo player.
Yeah. And what about him?
He's just got a drive. I guess his nickname's term the Duke of Drive,
Okay.
and I just like what I hear.
Right.
Yeah, I've grown up around him, grown up listening to his music,
Okay.
along with probably every other banjo player in
Yeah.
the country that's played bluegrass.
Okay.
But just high influence from him.
Mason.
I'm really influenced by a bunch of different singers and guitarists and everything. I just went out to Rocky Grass and to Colorado and got to see some of my favorite bluegrass musicians that I've always wanted to see, and that was a big experience
Such
for me.
as who?
Well, I got to see.
You can name drop. It's all right.
Yeah, okay, I'll name drop a little bit. So I got to see the David Grisman Quintet reunion,
Okay.
which that was really a lot of fun. We played a David Grisman song tonight, EMD, and then I got to see the Old and in the Way reunion with Peter
Oh,
Owen and what was I going to say? And David Grisman and Sam Bush filled in for Vassar, and there were some other people filling in for the other parts, but big Old and in the Way fan, and so we played some of that tonight, some covers of that music, and
What
and-
about those guys?
well, it's just kind of like it was progressive grass back in the day, pushing on like
Yeah.
kind of jazzy, hippie kind of stuff that I really like that. But I also am a big fan of straight up drive. And, I grew up my dad wrote some songs for Ronnie Bowman, and they got famous or big for him, and so I'm a big fan of Lonesome River Band, and you know, I always grew up very familiar with Sammy Sheeler and Ronnie Bowman, that whole crowd, and so I'm familiar with the mash grass, and I'm a big fan of the whole element of music called drive, and that's and you know, my dad instilled that into me more than anything. Just rhythm is the key to bluegrass, really.
Well, that's true. I mean, that drive is like what sets bluegrass apart from a lot of music, you know.
Yeah. But some guitarists that influenced me, like I'm a big fan of Brian Sutton, and you know, he's kind of paving the way recently. Him and I don't know, Michael Daves, both of them are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Yeah, and what about you? Who are you influenced by, Ben?
On bass, Jaco Pastorius, who doesn't play bluegrass at all, and he doesn't play anymore, unfortunately.
What style of music was he?
He was playing a lot of like crazy jazz fusion stuff.
Oh yeah.
But he's like kind of my big bass influence. But then I kind of try to turn that into bluegrass and see what happens. So I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, sounds great.
He's killing.
Well, so as a group, what are you guys going for?
Well, I mean, I'm sure all of us have listened to Newgrass Revival in some way or form or the other, and we're kind of, you know, I kind of try to go for that John Cowan vocal kind of thing with the bluegrass meshing soul into it, and that was, I guess, what Newgrass did with mixing a bunch of different genres into bluegrass and kind of also keeping the drive element. And so I'm sure all of us in some sense of the form are trying to kind of go for that.
And trying to push the band, see how far we can take the band, see how far we can go.
And do you guys all write songs, or is it
Mason's the big songwriter.
Well, all of us do write songs. I haven't heard a lyrical song from Pinky, but he's wrote some good tunes, or at least one that I really like, and I know that Zeb is a great songwriter, and Ben has an album that he's put out himself, so
it's not really bluegrass, but it's out there. Whatever it is.
And what are you pulling from for songwriting? Storytelling,
Well, my dad is, I did this apprenticeship technically with the Virginia Folklife program under, believe it or not, my father, was my mentor in that. So they do a lot of this whole father and son or family connection stuff when you can with that. But I take a lot from him with my songwriting, and I'm sure a lot of other people, Bob Dylan and some of these, just some of the pop music and just straight bluegrass. And when I try to write a song specific to a genre, I try to, make the lyrics similar to other songs in the genre and kind of the chords similar to that, and et cetera. So.
Okay, so it's semi-familiar for somebody listening. They'll, kind of be able to relate to it somewhat.
Yeah. I mean, I try. The biggest thing for songwriting for me is that I try to get the most power out of a single word as possible. The most of a message you can give in the least amount of words, basically. So.
Yeah. Not waste words.
Yeah. You don't have a lot of time. You got about 2.5, 3 minutes, 4 minutes if you're, really pushing along.
Right.
So. And you got to have kind of a catchy chorus, so usually you have to repeat a little bit. So got to have something pretty good to say to people.
Yeah. And being on the road more, has that changed like the music or songwriting for you guys?
Well, I don't know about these fellas, but for me, I write a lot about driving sometimes. While I'm in the car, I write a lot, and then sometimes the subject matter is being like, man, I'm tired and I gotta go to this gig or something like that.
Yeah, every band's got some road songs.
What about y'all?
Anything? You wrote a whole album, so.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't while I was on the road.
Okay.
I was living somewhere else with some crazy family, and I wrote an album about them. And if they
Life
see this,
gives you
they'll know
something
who
to
they
write
are.
about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Harry Potter style.
Yeah. Cool. And what do you guys have coming up? What are some projects you're working on?
Well, we got a big gig that we're looking forward to is the Richmond Folk Festival, and we got a big slot there through the Virginia Folk Life program. Got to give a good little heads up to them, and thank you for hooking that up for us. And we got some other things. We're playing at Happy Valley Fillers Convention tomorrow, and next weekend we're playing another 3-show run and playing at down the road in my hometown at a festival called the Stoke Stomp. And yeah, I could name drop a couple more, but yeah.
Right. And you've got an EP out.
Yeah.
Are you working on any other albums?
Well,
It's
it's coming
coming up.
up.
This
Okay.
winter.
It's in the making.
If you want to check out, we have a little kind of a live thing that we did to keep people satisfied until we get the full length LP or whatever you want to call it out there. If you check out Bandcamp.com and look up Hot Trail Mix, you'll find a Pay It What You Want little 6-song EP called Live in the Library.
How does that, from your experience, how does that pay what you want system work? I mean, how does it work out?
Well, a lot of people get it for free, or just on Bandcamp you can just listen for free. But I have a couple people who've paid some money, throwing some donations over the limit. So that's over what you would normally spend for a CD. So that's kind of cool. It sometimes ends up working itself out. So it depends, I guess.
Okay. Are you generally in favor of it, or?
I mean, for that, I mostly am, more about people just getting it for free, just listen to music.
Yeah.
It's we did it and recorded it for free at my school, and I mixed and mastered it all myself. So if people want to get it for free, they can. So go get it right now, y'all, if you want it.
Yeah, well, link to that. In the
Yeah, but we're not opposed to people.
Right, yeah. It all helps.
Pay what you will, but yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And,
thank you.
Thank you. We'll let you know when this is out, and look forward to seeing you some more.
Awesome.
People join in while the music plays the band.
Hey, thank you for listening. I'm super excited to share these interviews with you, and I'd really appreciate you subscribing and leaving me a review, 5 stars preferably, but I'll take any feedback you've got. And stay tuned, we've got lots more exciting interviews coming your way.